Hi, I'm Walter Norton Jr.
And I'm Michael Boyle. Today's video is on developing lateral speed and change of direction. What we're going to try to do today is teach you how to teach somebody to change direction, how to teach somebody how to move better. We're going to take you through a series of progressions for warm-up, primarily on the agility ladder, some dynamic warm-up drills that we like. We're going to take you through some lateral plyometrics. We're going to take you through some concepts that will show you lateral speed and agility, the actual teaching of change of direction. The one thing that we want to make people understand is that this is a really teachable concept if you look at the skills, break them down, and develop drills for them.
We're going to begin our lateral day with the ABC ladder. We've broken our drills down systematically for ease of teaching and ease of learning. Today, assisting me is going to be Tricia Dunn, Olympic gold and silver medalist. We're going to begin with our most basic series, and we've broken these drills down essentially by footwork. We're going to start with our 2-count series, the easiest one to learn and to teach. Our 2-count series refers to the process we're going to use to teach each of the drills. Simply stated, we're going to put 2 feet in each box as we move forward through the ladder. This is our high knee drill. We'll identify which foot goes first in each drill. In this case, the left foot. 2 feet in each box, lifting the knees as high as possible with good arm swing and upper body posture. We'll do each drill left foot first, forward, right foot first, forward, and then laterally as well. The same rhythms apply. Simply count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Weight is on the ball of the foot. Athlete should look down, but not curl his body down, his or her body down. Drive that elbow back every time. When we move to the quick feet series, the drill is exactly the same, but the tempo is much faster. Left feet first going forward. We're not worried about knee height here, we're worried about frequency. As I move to the left foot goes first, and as Tricia goes to her right foot goes first. Again, simply counting to 2 each time. We'll often cue the athletes to relax so they can move their feet faster. Scissors is the next 2-count drill. Both feet move at the same time. As I start to the left, my left foot's first, and I simply count to 2 in each box. Trying to keep the hips as square as possible, being on the ball of my foot, and moving to the left. As Tricia goes to the right, the same applies. Hips square, arm and opposite leg action should be synced up. Stack out is the next 2-count drill. Most of the drills are named so they bring to mind exactly what the foot action should be. Stack out, stack out, stack out as you move forward, and the alternate foot goes in front each time. Stack the left foot in front, both feet out. Stack the right foot in front, both feet out, moving up 1 box each time. We're going to do each drill forward and backwards, and the athlete usually will struggle much more backwards as they're much more familiar with going forward in all of the sports they play. Hopscotch is the next 2-count drill. Certainly familiar in memory, but a little more coordinated as we get to some combination foot movements. We're on 2 outside the ladder, and then 1 foot inside the ladder. 2 out, 1 in, 2 out, 1 in, 2 out, 1 in. Moving forward 1 box at a time. We always ask the athletes to get the drill correct, then get it slow, then get it fast. Once they know the pattern, we encourage them to go as fast as possible. 2, 1, all the time. Ball of your foot is always where the weight should be. Clearly, backwards more difficult than forwards. As we begin our 3-count series, we add another piece of cadence to the drills. Here, we're doing shuffle, wide, and stick. And to teach the athletes most of the drills we do as we get into the 3-count series, we'll give them something to think about. It can be anything you want. In this case, what we use is in, out. In, out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The cadence can be anything, but we should give the athlete something to think about while they move their feet. Almost all the time, if the athletes do the drills while they say what the cadence is, they get it correct right away. If your athletes are struggling, make them say the drill out loud, what their cadence should be, and they'll pick it up very quickly. In, out, in, out, in, out, trying to facilitate as much knee bend outside as you feel comfortable with. As we go forward into shuffle quick, the tempo increases greatly, but the drill is still the same. Still in the ball of the foot will stay much closer to the ladder. In, out, moving forward as we go. We're still in more of our basic series here, and these are the drills the athletes should pick up rather quickly as they get used to picking up different patterns and tempos. Shuffle quick and stick combines 2 of the drills previously done. Here, from a thought process standpoint, what you can do with any of the drills that we use is combine them to create effective and new drills on your own. We'll show you some of those drills later in the video. Here, we're combining shuffle quick and shuffle wide, both forward and backward. We're quick on the right side of the ladder, long on the left, in this case with Tricia. Quick on the right, long on the left. As with everything else, forward and backwards. Again, paying attention to posture, knee position, and arm action when necessary. Quick on the left, long on the right. It's much easier to combine some of the simple drills. As the drills get more difficult or start to combine some hip turn, they do become tougher to do. Cross in front is the next 3-count drill. Again, from a teaching mantra, over, out, out, over, out, out. As the athlete crosses that front foot over, then takes both feet out of the ladder. Over, out, out, over, out, out. You should see some real foot frequency as the athletes get better with this particular drill. We do encourage slight hip turn almost all the time as the athlete turns back into the ladder. Forward and backwards do make a difference as the athletes will be much slower moving backwards. Here, Tricia turns her hips very well. Cross behind. The same exact drill, whereas before we taught the foot in front, it's behind, out, out, behind, out, out, and then as the athlete gets the foot pattern correct, they move faster and faster forward. You could have the athlete count to 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or whatever pattern or verbal cue they recognize to get the drill correct. As we begin 4-count drills, these are a much more difficult series of drills because we're asking the athlete to put 4 foot combinations consecutively over and over again. In, out, out. In, out, out. And although the pattern is very simple, because we have 4 foot movements in a row, it's much more difficult for the athletes. Here, we must pay strict attention to which foot goes first in each situation. Get the drill correct, get it slow, then get it fast. In, out, out. As we go to the left, left foot goes first. As we go to the right, right foot goes first. Arm action will certainly facilitate faster foot movement. One of the reasons it's necessary to pay attention to which foot goes first is that most people will have a dominant foot, and if they don't think about it and just jump into each drill, typically their right foot will go first in almost every drill. We want to teach each athlete that they're in control of their body, not the other way around. 1, 2, 3 in is a fantastic drill, still in the 4-count series, that we think is very simple to teach, but really focuses on the tempo of your footwork. 1, 2, 3 in. 1, 2, 3 in. And that foot goes into the ladder as that, depending on which side of the ladder you're on, in this case the right, that right foot stays straight ahead and that left foot darts in. As Tricia comes forward, her left foot stays in a straight line and her right foot steps into the ladder. 1, 2, 3 in. 1, 2, 3 in. As we start to move to the left, it's interesting to note that as both Tricia and I go, that is our lead foot moving into the ladder. Again, the pattern is the same. The same drill can be done with your trail leg in the ladder. As she goes to her left foot is first, but you could simply reverse this drill, have her move to her left, but her right foot goes into the ladder. One leg cross behind is a difficult variation of a simple premise. As you move forward in the ladder, the leg crosses behind, and we're alternating foot counts each time. As we break this down slow, left foot moves forward, right leg crosses behind, left foot moves forward, right leg crosses to the opposite side. In front and back is our next 4-count drill. Each drill should be done twice each way. The first time to your right with your right foot in the ladder, the next time with your left foot in the ladder, so that you make sure and use both the trail leg and lead leg. The pattern is in front, over, in back, over. As you move sideways, your foot goes in front, your foot in the ladder moves over, your foot goes in back, the foot in the ladder moves over. Turnout introduces us to our next category, 2-count drills with hip rotation. We're building on the previously done stack out. Turn both your toes and hips outside to point in each direction, first left, then right. As you move forward, turn, out, turn, out, turn, out. The more hip action and hip rotation we get here, the better. Turn, out, turn, out, turn, out. The concept is fairly simple. When you add in hip rotation for most of the athletes, it becomes much more difficult. It's even more difficult as you move to your left and right. Previously, we were forward and back. Now, as we move laterally, the tempo and cadence are the same. Turn, out, but because we're moving to left and right, it's even more difficult. Hip switch begins without hip rotation, forward and backward. The pattern is foot in the ladder, slightly in front of foot outside the ladder. As you move forward, switch feet and continue on. When we go left and right, hip rotation is at a premium. Left foot starts in the ladder as we move to the left, right foot turns into the next box. As Tricia moves to her right, right foot starts, left foot turns, and tries to turn her hips as hard as possible each time. Karaoke is fairly straightforward, 1 foot in each box with as much hip action as possible. The smoother the better. 180s, again, feet are in the ladder, similar to turnout, except feet never leave the ladder, 1 foot in each box, moving up one at a time. Backwards clearly much more difficult. Snake is an old drill that usually proves very difficult. As we move up the ladder, each foot moves twice in a row. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We're getting independent hip turn with one leg in the ladder. Simply a 2 count as you go forward. Athletes will usually struggle backwards initially and then pick it up very quickly. The next category is 2-count plyo drills. Certainly these are much easier to teach and fast to learn for the athlete, but as we incorporate jumping into the drills, it's much more stressful on the athlete as well. Simply in, out, both forward and backwards. As we move to our right, the cadence and tempo are the same, and we've got to make sure we go both left and right each time. Giant slalom indicates we skip a box as we go through the drill, both forward and backward. There's a much bigger plyometric effect for this drill. Again, this drill can be done both to the left and right. One-leg slalom is a good reminder that some drills aren't for everybody. When putting together a program, please bear in mind the stress on the ankle and shin is much greater as we move on one leg. Some of your overweight athletes or athletes recovering from injury should stay away from one-leg slalom. As Tricia moves to her left with her right foot in and out of the ladder, she is jumping medially. Make sure when doing this drill, we jump laterally as well. Again, the left foot in the ladder, moving to the left in this case. 2 becomes 1 is again a simple drill that can often be confused. 2 in, 1 out, 2 in, 1 out. Alternating sides, moving up 1 box at a time. This is a great drill to begin to teach change of direction with some stability in between. Ankle bounce is the last plyometric drill, and it's only 1 count in nature. Encourage plantar and dorsiflexion in the ankle as the athlete bounds through the ladder. This drill can be done forward, to the left, and to the right. The last category of the ladder includes spatial awareness drills and variations on a theme. Here, as I face out of the ladder instead of facing in, the drill becomes much more difficult. Once you change perspective for most of the athletes, you'll be amazed by how much difficulty they have with simple drills. Here, out, out, in instead of in, out, out changes an already existing drill and gives you more varieties. 1, 2, 3 out instead of 1, 2, 3 in this case with the lead leg. We talked previously of combination patterns. Half and half refers to crossover on one side, cross behind on the other. Here, Tricia crosses in front from her right, crosses behind from her left. When setting up your lateral day, choose 1 to 2 drills from each category. Those drills should be performed forward, backwards, and in some cases to the left and right. We typically choose 6 to 8 drills and allot 8 minutes of total time to perform these drills.
What you're seeing here is a real-time workout. We're going to move from a ladder warm-up into some more dynamic activities, what we would classify as lateral dynamics, and then eventually into some resisted dynamic movements. And what we're going to try to do now is challenge the range of motion a little bit. Obviously in the ladder we're looking for a warm-up, we're looking for footwork, we want to work on our lateral movement. The next drills are really going to work on improving range of motion, particularly as it applies to lateral movement. Initially, we'll begin with stationary drills to stress the hip complex. Here we're using what we call a stationary Spider-Man, which really starts in a push-up position and has the athlete bring the foot up just outside of the hand and then try to drop the elbow inside. We're bringing foot up to hand, elbow inside, and really thinking about dropping the back knee down. What we can get here is a stretch for the adductor, for the hip, for the opposite side, psoas, all done in a relatively stress-free setting here as we move from a series of 1-second holds. Here you get a side view, and we want you to see that we're getting stretch not only on the front side leg but on the back side hip flexor group. Again, stationary lateral squat here. We're just asking the athlete to move from side to side in a lateral squat action. We're trying to get an increase in range of motion through the adductors and through the hips. So we're getting adductor stretch on the straight leg and some stretch in the hip on the bent leg. This is a drill you need to be careful of because this can be a strength exercise for some athletes. Again, we're going to show you this from a front view, from a side view. It's important that the athlete keeps the weight on the heel and sits back into the squat, pushing the butt back, trying to keep the head and chest up, the hands out in front. The athlete here needs to simply move up into the extended position and then sit down deep into the squat. The next series of drills just adds movement to what we've shown you previously. Now we have a moving Spider-Man, which incorporates a crawling action with the same stepping up to the hand. We want to step up, crawl through. We really emphasize here weight is on the hands and butt stays down. In the same way here, we can add movement to the lateral squat drill. Here, Tricia squats, stands, brings her feet together. It's very important that we get that action of squatting, standing, and then feet together. If we get a squat and then they drag the feet together, we're going to get a much higher stress on the adductor muscle group, and we're going to get some almost instant soreness from this exercise when we begin to add movement. The concept for us is to take our exercises, make them dynamic stationary, and then make them dynamic with movement. In addition, what we'll do is begin to stress upper body flexibility more here, moving to a hands behind the head position for Tricia, and then eventually to a hands over the head position, so we can really look at developing some range of motion through the shoulder complex, particularly in the pec and in the lat. Lateral slide through is another difficult exercise, similar in concept to lateral squat, but very different in terms of the weight shift. We're starting with the weight on the right, shifting it all across to the left. The idea here is that we're never going to raise the level of the hips, so the hip flexibility is going to be stressed to a much greater degree with the slide through than it would be in the lateral squat. The other benefit here is that it's much more difficult on the athlete's quadriceps. This would, again, probably be a third phase exercise after somebody had done stationary lateral squat, then we might add lateral slide through in. In addition, on our lateral days, we will add in shuffle and karaoke to our lateral warm-up. We want to make sure not only are we increasing the range of motion in the groin, but we're starting to get those muscles, particularly the ad and abductors, moving with some speed.